The free games offered on PS Plus can be a bit of a mixed bag. When they are good, and especially if you haven't previously played that title, it's sort of like someone gifting you a game out of nowhere, even though you are paying for it with being a member. But even so, in September, a really fun arcade racer was dropped into our laps to try. For the last generation, Need for Speed has been a bit of a rough go, but Need for Speed Heat is a solid racer and very underrated. It is a game made up of two parts. The day races provide more traditional experiences, whereas the night stuff flips it more into an action racer as you contend with the cops. It provides good options for single player, co-op, and competitive play. One would think that next month's game wouldn't be another racer, but it ended up being just that. I really enjoyed Hot Wheels Unleashed when it first came out. I had issues with it for sure, but when it came to the minute-to-minute action, it was great in that department. So I thought it would be a good time to jump back into it. Hot Wheels finds a nice middle ground where it's very easy to pick up and play, while also being a game where you can appreciate its finer details and improve your skill. New players that are interested in this arcade racer can easily pick this up and enjoy it, making this very approachable and a fun party game. On the flip side, those looking for a little bit more to work towards will find the drifting and boosting systems enjoyable, as you are rewarded for bettering your skill and knowing the best time to boost and drift, while at the same time taking the time to learn all of the tracks you'll be racing on. It goes without saying that Hot Wheels Unleashed looks really good to play, and that follows through when you actually have the controller in your hands. There's a strong base here, and much of the problems with this game comes from the decisions that are built around the racing. The developers got one of the hardest parts down, giving the player compelling minute-to-minute gameplay, but this is sadly lacking in other areas that are honestly so glaring that you wonder what they were even thinking at times. The bulk of the gameplay is all focused on the arcade racing. Right from your first set of races, you'll be able to easily jump in and understand all the basics of what the mechanics are at play. In Hot Wheels Unleashed, you will live and die by your boost. The boost is what gives you that edge in most of your races. Now, boost is gained back in a few ways. It will slowly regenerate as you're racing, meaning you will eventually be able to use it again. At the same time, there are certain spots on the tracks where if you drive over them, they will quickly charge your boost, providing you with another optional means to blow past your opposition. But where much of the skill comes into play is with the drifting. Drifting is a great way to allow you to zip around the tracks with ease, with being able to gain more boost at the same time. This is where a lot of the excitement and skill comes into play, knowing when to drift and then when to use your boost. You will slowly find yourself assessing each track as a means to properly use both of these options to try and hit or maintain first place. This makes replaying the tracks very enjoyable. Now, you might catch on very quickly, being able to be very reactive, knowing what to do and when, but playing them again after taking what you just experienced to do better is really rewarding. The boosting and drifting is a simple system that is done really well, and provides a lot of player satisfaction with each moment of gameplay. Hot Wheels does feature a mechanic to allow you to quickly correct your mistakes if you went off the track or made a wrong turn. You can hold down the replay button and this will pop yourself back on the track. For the single player, there are a few modes to play. The main one is the campaign. Here you will complete a few different activities as you explore the map and earn rewards. There's a nice mix of normal races, single shot races, and some with interesting gimmicks. For example, there are situations where if you touch gas, you'll not be able to boost. Or on another map, there will be tornadoes that you need to watch out for, as if they hit you, they will slow you down greatly. There is a decent amount of content if you want to earn everything the base campaign has to offer. In addition to the campaign are the quick modes. These include a quick race and time attack races. From a single player perspective, there is enough here to keep you content, and we haven't even touched on the race creator yet. For the multiplayer side of things, I spent most of my time on the PS5 and I didn't really have any issues with it from a stability perspective. And apparently they have added crossplay between Xbox and PS5. This is also where the race creation comes into play. The game allows you to use some of the same tools the developers use to make some of the official tracks in the game, and you can toy around with all the options here. Online, you can race against other players and use their created tracks, adding in a new element of variety into the picture. Many of the cars can be personalized with customization options as you put your own stamp on them, along with being able to download other people's creations. Hot Wheels has a two-currency system related to its progression. Coins are used for buying new cars or unlocking official tracks in Quick Play. Gears are used to increase the value of your cars, which in turn improves their performance. Unlocking many of your cars will be through a form of a loot box. You can end up with duplicates, and as such, you can opt to turn those in for either more coins or more gears. Now, when I played this a little after launch, it had a battle pass, but when I signed in to play it today, I didn't see one available. I hope they decide to recycle some of the prior battle passes, because originally, even if you didn't pay for this, there was a lot of free unlocks that you could get as well. Hot Wheels has a strong foundation with its minute-to-minute gameplay. When you're in a race, you're having a great time. Many of the other surrounding elements feel like they could have done a lot better, and this is where the wasted potential comes into play. The track editor is a great addition. This allows you to really dive into the creative side and make some impressive tracks. But there's issues with this. For one, the menu system on how you get to these tracks and look at others feels very half-baked. For one, I wouldn't be surprised if you missed this altogether, since I honestly thought you couldn't play created tracks offline. You need to first go to time attack mode and then toggle to community tracks. This is very clunky and not as obvious as it should be. This should have been its own option like the quick race or time attack. Along with this, the search tool should have been optimized more. One thing that feels like a rather large oversight is how you cannot play the created tracks with the AI. This really hurts this aspect of the game. I understand that this is something that might take more work, and considering the variables that could be done to a track, I understand that this could be a mess in some cases, or even on purpose. But I do wonder if there was a way of making this work in the created tools, if the player could essentially set A to B points for the tracks, and the AI would then have to follow those that the player built. So if the player made a full unbroken loop, then the AI would be able to follow this, or something like it. I do find the lack of AI in this department to be a big missed opportunity. Something else that I found odd was how this game very much felt like a platform type of experience, and then you would buy expansions to get different areas. For example, the DLCs give you a Batman set of missions and cars, or Looney Tunes. My problem with this is how it is done. Hot Wheels was released as a full-price game, with features that were missing and should have been included. So this expansion path feels like something that the company was trying to get away with selling more for doing very little. I think if you're trying to do the platform route and your game lacks certain features, then your title should come down a bit at a discount. Like release it at half price and then have the players choose what to upgrade from there. Other things that are odd is how you cannot start a group and then join a multiplayer match with a friend. You need to first join a game and then invite your friend to that game. This is needlessly clunky, and thankfully you can do private matches. I love that split screen is also an option. The campaign is fun with good rewards, but it's way too short and should have included more for the player. Now that the game has been out for a year and the content updates seem to be stopping, it is a shame that the developers didn't try to put more iconic Hot Wheels cars in the game. There's a bunch of licensed stuff here, and it seems much of the budget went into this. This is a really fun game, but it's hard to not notice the issues. Overall, Hot Wheels Unleashed is a very fun game, while also feeling like an early access title, but originally sold as a full-price game. The minute-to-minute racing is the best selling point here. Playing around and improving your skill with the drifting and boosting is very satisfying. The game looks good and sounds good as well. There's a decent amount of unlocks along with the customization options. Like I said before, the foundation is strong, but the rest of the game needed the same level of care. The list of missing features and the lack of future content updates means what you see is what you get with this title, and I honestly would be willing to give this developer another shot at making a sequel to this, and see if they can take the same gameplay and essentially build a stronger game around it. As a PS Plus title, this is an easy recommendation. For anyone else, grab this on a sale. If you're interested in being notified of new videos, please hit the subscribe button and bell. And if you would like to support the channel and get early access to content, please check out my Patreon. All of the links will be at the end of this video and within the description. And thank you very much for watching.